I, 30 female, met my husband Stephen, 32, at a friend's who was a cousin party. We instantly connected and started dating not long after. We've been happily married for 5 years and have an infant son. I met my mother-in-law at his uncle's funeral and he asked me to attend in support of him. Before we left, his cousin warned me about mother-in-law. He said she wasn't the nicest person, had impossibly high standards to meet, and could be judgmental, so don't take it personally as she's like that with everyone. I did ask my husband and he agreed that mother-in-law can be pretty judgmental, but not to worry, that he will be there for me. I felt like they gave me the sugar-coated version of her because she was terrible. She made a scene about bringing a stranger to a family funeral, but my husband cut her off and said his aunt, who was his uncle's widow, said he could. She spent the rest of the funeral giving me nasty looks and making passive-aggressive comments. She made a scene at our wedding, but that's a different story on its own. But after minimal contact with mother-in-law, my husband eventually got around to telling her that I was pregnant. I expected her to be angry and have a go at him, but she surprised us both and was the complete opposite. She was excited about being a grandmother. She congratulated us. Her attitude turned completely and I grudgingly allowed her to visit. When it was time to give birth to my son, she wanted to see my son being born, but I refused. That's when her ugly side reared its head again and she caused a scene and was thrown out. I refused to let her visit us at home and my husband agreed, but she rang crying and apologizing. She said she was just overwhelmed about being a grandmother and her emotions got the better of her. Against my better judgment, I relented and said okay. When she first held him, she looked at me and said he was beautiful. I went into the kitchen to get us a drink, and then I heard my husband telling her to get out. I went back in. She started yelling he needed to get the baby tested because he didn't look like anyone in their family. He kicked her out. She took it to social media and told everyone that I cheated on my husband and that my husband needed to get a DNA test to prove he was the dad. She got a lot of attention for that. So I made my own post and said I'll get a test when she gets a test for her son. That just made everything worse. She rang my husband up telling him to take it down. He just hung up on her. Everyone divided and questioned my husband's paternity since she had such a strong reaction to it. Now even my husband is starting to wonder and is making me feel I went too far, and I'm thinking I'm wrong for saying that. Am I the idiot for telling my mother-in-law if she expects me to get a DNA test for my son, then I'll do it after she gets a DNA test for my husband? Not the idiot, and I'm incredibly proud of you for coming up with that response. What's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. You asked her to do precisely the same thing she was demanding of you. Perfect. Keep holding your ground and just tell her to stop spouting lies about you on social media, or you will continue to embarrass her on your own account, and she can face the consequences of her own actions. I agree. If she wants to make her delusions public, she can handle your public response. If you don't want a witch hunt, don't make a pyre. She doesn't sound stable at all, and I'd be worried about what she would do around the child. Even if she was just another weirdly enmeshed boy mom, that mood swing, going from one extreme to another in the blink of an eye, goes beyond idiot into dangerous territory. Also, her demanding to see the birth and immediately taking to social media also indicates she has no concept of boundaries. OMG, I would enjoy this greatly. She would get gifts from me wrapped with bow. Christmas, DNA home tests. Birthday, DNA home tests. Mother's Day, DNA home tests. I might send them to her from Amazon randomly as a pick-me-up for myself. Be the whirlwind. Oh, and please include a note that says, normal people would be getting a framed photo of their grandson, but you went this way. Hope it was worth it. I love that OP's husband questions who his own father is, not if he is the father of his child with OP. She married a good one. Honey, your mother-in-law is deranged. Women like this often project. So while you may have just been playing her at her own game, you may have accidentally hit a nail right on the head. Have no contact with her ever again and move on with your drama-free lives, enjoying your beautiful new baby and amazing husband. I, 28 male, recently went on a trip with my girlfriend, 27, to New York City. I've only been once but never did any touristy stuff and my girlfriend has never been. My girlfriend is very vain and wouldn't be caught dead without makeup. We didn't have much luggage space as our airline charges for everything, so we went light. She took up all her space, packing multiple shoes that were all high heels. She had no space for sneakers and then wore heels to the airport, all out 4 to 5 inches high. I told her that was incredibly dumb and that she wouldn't be able to walk everywhere in those, and made a bet that she'd have to buy sneakers. She got upset at me, told me she could wear what she liked, and asked me if I was insecure because she was taller than me in heels, which I was not. We did a lot of walking, and I had to walk beside her in her heels at the Met Art Gallery, the Bronx Zoo, Central Park, Brooklyn Bridge, etc., and it was ridiculous. She didn't buy sneakers, but I feel like there's no way it was comfortable, and had I not mentioned it, she would have bought them and only didn't to spite me. We finished the trip and she claimed that I was the one who was too tired just because I got bored of the Met, and she did a little more than me, and I didn't want to go everywhere she wanted to go in Central Park, and called me an idiot for not believing her. So, am I? You are the idiot, dude. She proved you wrong. She knew she could go the whole trip in high heels and did it better than you in your flat sneakers. It really does sound like you're insecure because she's taller than you, and you feel intimidated that you can't control her decisions. You don't know her better than she knows herself. She knows what she's comfortable with. Stop telling her how she's supposed to feel or what she's supposed to wear. You feel the need to nag her to bring her down to your level, so you call her dumb and vain, when in reality she's just more capable than you think, can make her own decisions, and enjoys wearing and applying makeup. Seriously, that dig at her wearing makeup was utterly unnecessary and irrelevant to the rest of your narrative. I wonder why you're even dating her, because you don't sound like you even like her. If you do, stop the controlling, insecure behavior you've been exhibiting. Though something tells me she'll recognize her worth and leave this relationship before you make the effort to actually change. My girlfriend is committed to looking good, and I'm insecure about it. I bet he'd be the type to complain if she toned down her care routine too. She'd go from vain to slob in a heartbeat. Absolutely, he'd say that she let herself go. I have an Italian friend. She will not be caught dead wearing any sort of flat shoes. Everywhere she goes and anything she does, she wears high heels. Shopping, meeting for coffee, it doesn't matter. She wears heels and she'd still easily outwalk most. Some women have it down to a fine art. Honestly, to me, your relationship is in trouble, bud. Me and my friend Jess have been friends since the 9th grade, and we're currently in our early 30s. She was the maid of honor at my wedding years ago, and it was just expected that I'd do the same when the time came for her. She got engaged a few years ago. She always had a date she wanted to get married on, but it kept being pushed back. Finally, everything was set for December. I was pregnant but was expected to be 8+ months postpartum, so it wouldn't be an issue. However, in December last year, my family and I got into a crash, and I lost my little sister and my pregnancy. I still had every plan of being in the wedding and helping out as much as I could, but being honest, the wedding was no longer a priority in my mind. I was excused from missing all of the earlier events and planning, but as we got closer to the wedding, my friend's patience slowly ran thin. Prior to the accident, I'd offered to pay for and basically deal with the venue. Post-accident, I was still paying, but I told her to have someone handle it because I couldn't give it my all. But she insisted I do it. I stood my ground and she started calling me a bad friend, saying that I didn't care about her and that I was being selfish. She brought up everything she did for me and how she was disappointed in how crappy I was being. I tried to explain my side to her, but she didn't have it, and she ended up saying that if I wasn't helping with the wedding, I wasn't welcome to the wedding anymore. We left it at that. I knew she still wanted me at the wedding, but she wouldn't ask again. Originally, I had planned to apologize and just go anyway, but at the last minute, I decided to just respect her words and not go. The wedding was 3 weeks ago, and I didn't attend. It was all over social media, and I checked friends' posts and stories throughout the night. When I woke up the next day, I tried looking at Jess's post, and all her social media was gone. She'd blocked me, and several other mutual friends blocked me as well. It turns out Jess was upset I wasn't there, and after the wedding, took to social media to basically bash me. Now a lot of people have blocked me, and some have been saying crap about me for not attending the wedding. Oh man, not the idiot. Firstly, I'm really sorry for your loss. I know grieving must take an extremely long time, and it's understandable if you felt the need to not help prepare for your friend's wedding if it meant it would only be prepared half-heartedly. You may have been better off having told her earlier on. Now, the part about your friend blocking you as well as her mutual friends. It's concerning how no one has reached out to you for an explanation. That's quite a hint that she definitely told the story in her own words, and as all stories have bias, hers was too. This is a serious question though. Why do people think they're entitled to all this free labor when planning a wedding? It wasn't even just free labor. The OP paid for the venue. I don't understand this mentality. It's your party, your event, you do it. If she uninvited you, why would you have gone? Because it feels like to Jess this was some sort of final test in her mind. OP was supposed to either come grovel to her to be re-invited or just show up anyway to prove that she still deserves Jess's friendship. This is 100% BS, of course. A true friend would show empathy to their friend suffering what OP has been through. You paid for the venue but straight up told her you didn't have it in you to do much more than that. I'm sorry for your loss and having to deal with such crappy people on top of that. I, nearly adult female, just recently found out that my sister, 21, is pregnant. And after she told me, she said that she wants us to swap rooms because my room would be more convenient for her to have. The main reason she wants to swap are because my room is downstairs and hers is upstairs, and she doesn't want to have to carry a baby up and down the stairs constantly, and she wants to easily be able to take the pram into her room. My room is also closer to the kitchen, has more storage space, and has an ensuite. Her room is bigger than mine, so I don't know why she would want a smaller room even though she's going to have more things to put in it. And although she doesn't have an ensuite, there's a bathroom right beside her room, so it's not like she has to walk a mile for a bathroom or anything. But the main reason I don't want to swap is that my room has just been freshly painted and had new flooring put in. So I don't want to just change rooms and have it basically being done for nothing, and I told her that. And she said it was selfish of me not to want to give her my room, which is hypocritical, because I asked if I could swap rooms with her ages ago, and she said no, but now that she wants mine, it's selfish of me not to give it to her. She started going on about how I had no idea how hard it would be for her and a bunch of other stuff to try and make me feel bad, but I basically told her I didn't care how much she asked for it, I'm not swapping. Edit, she pays rent, and I didn't pay for my room to be done, my parents did. She's not with the baby's dad anymore and he still lives with his family as well. I'm gonna say you are the idiot, given your clarification that you're both living in your parents' house and they're the ones who paid for the new flooring, etc. It sounds like both of your rooms are their rooms, and to your sister's point, it's easier to care for a newborn on the ground floor and with an ensuite bathroom. That said, the newborn coming home is going to affect you, so I hope your whole family, everyone who lives there, can sit down and discuss what arrangements make sense. Agree, sister's reasons are valid. If she had a difficult birth or even a C-section, climbing the stairs may be a problem for her on top of what she said. And if she's bottle feeding, your sister and the baby will be in and out of the kitchen at least every couple of hours, 24 hours a day, for months. Lord, I hope she doesn't trip while carrying the baby up and down the stairs. OP, I hope someone treats you the same if you're ever pregnant. This was a weird take. You are not the idiot. Tell your sister you see the best solution is for her to move out and get her own place. If she's old enough to reproduce, she's old enough to live out from under her parents' roof. Her lack of planning is not your responsibility. Where is the baby daddy living? She might even consider moving in with him. My husband and I welcomed our son into the world in November. We chose the name Reed for him after some searching. Neither of us got our first choice, but we love the name and we believe it fits our son beautifully. I knew my son's name was a bit of a standout among my family. They like to reuse the same names that are popular and always seem to float pretty high in naming charts. For boys, the top 3 in our family are James, Benjamin and William, but Reed isn't a weird or unheard of name. My family were all very quiet when we announced the name, and almost immediately they started dropping comments about people making weird naming choices for their children, which never directly mentioned my husband and me, but we both felt it was aimed at us. Then they commented a few times how there's nothing wrong with good, solid, classic names that everyone knows and loves and reuses. But then they started to say Reed was an odd choice, or that they had no idea where we found such a name, even though it's in the top 400 choices. My parents accused me of trying to be trendy and not thinking about my son's future. I decided to confront my family without my husband present because I felt it wasn't fair to drag him into it more. I asked them what their problem was and why they were being so mean about the name. They told me they hated Reed and they felt it was a very unattractive name, and we didn't think it through at all. They told me we should have reconsidered and given him a real name, not something trendy that came up in the last 20 or 30 years. They said we had so many beautiful names to choose from, and we made a horrible decision. They then said they tried gently showing us the light, but we ignored their efforts. I told them if their comments about my son's name were supposed to make me regret the choice, then they failed because all it did was make me regret them because they were being rude and hurt.